And that little girl was me.
Good evening, good evening, good evening.
Evening. Welcome to Hot Topic Tuesday with Truth to Power with me, Dr. Candace Matthews, who is the accountability expert. Then
Yes.
our guest host, Ian Haddock. Oh my gosh, it is so wonderful to see you again, Ian. Oh God.
Yes, this is gonna be fun. I loved and enjoyed you so much. So it's super cool to be here in this space and getting to talk on Hot Topic Tuesdays with you. So I'm super excited.
Yes, and our other co-host Wendell will be in and just be in, having a little technical difficulties, but that's okay because we ready. We ready.
Yes.
We'll be ready for it when he jump in. So
yes, absolutely.
So how was your week going so far right now?
Oh, my week has been crazy, Dr. Matthews. It's been crazy, crazy, crazy. But I'm super excited to be working and to have work. So I'm happy to be here. What about you? How was your day?
Baby, my day has been like a roller coaster. But I was able to get through it. So that's what's important.
yes. So should we start with a little warm up? Should we start with a little warm up?
Do that. And you know what? If I want to choose, then let's do this one. What about the Cat Williams situation? Because I just want to take a look at this video.
Yes.
So I can see what the hype is, what everybody's talking about.
So I don't know if we have the video, but I'll tell you this. It was a really powerful video. He talked a lot about voting, pandemic, the president, COVID, and consequences. But what's really interesting is he was really transparent. And what he talked about was what it was like to be kind of like this blemish to the Black society, and how that's important when we're thinking about how the treatment of police is, right? Because many times we don't think about those who are incarcerated when we talk about police brutality. So I thought that was a really powerful piece that he brought up when he was talking about all of the other things as it relates to the country and where we are right now.
Yeah, because I got like a lot of feedback that was on it, and they were saying that it was very powerful. And see, the only thing that I really got a chance to look at was the hair. He had different colors going on. I was like, baby, who did that frontal? But okay, it was all good. But besides that, they were just saying how powerful it was. So you just broke it down just perfectly for me.
Would you have wore that frontal?
There will be no. I wouldn't even be in them colors either. Like, no, baby. No, you need the HD frontal. Okay. So you don't rock it. Let's rock it with the HD. Okay.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's coming out your scalp at least. Me with my shadiness.
I know that's right. Shade, all of that. No, I did not like the frontal at all. I didn't understand the concept. I thought we were going to hear something about LGBT issues, but anybody can wear a rainbow frontal. And I guess if we were talking about LGBT issues, it might have been a little better installed. So, but other than that, I think it was a powerful conversation.
Oh yeah, baby, because one of the girls would have had that all the way together, honey. Just like that. So what's this foolishness about Trump suggesting trying to run for a third term? Like, I'm dead. Like, what is happening?
Orange Satan shows up again. So I know he's been having this conversation over really the last couple years. So I think he really started this conversation somewhere in the middle of 2019. But now he is back saying the same conversation that he is going to run for a third term. All I care about is him not getting a second term. That's what I care about.
And I didn't know that a president can run a third term.
Listen,
I thought that was 2 terms and you're done.
Listen, this man in his false sense of reality has concocted all kind of different things. All that matters to me is getting his butt out this second term. We don't even want to think about a third term. He needs to be gone at the top of the year. We need to vote him out in November. Okay?
He need to be gone. Because I'm like, what did this dude just say a third term? Like, who says that? Like, I'm not understanding. Like, are you for real? Like, what's wrong with you?
and I think it really is about the fact that he really does not have the capacity, as Michelle Obama talked about in her speech last night. I know we're going to talk about the DNC, the DNC kickoff a little bit later, but she spoke about he just doesn't have the capacity to lead this country. Even when we think about the stalled unemployment bill, right? That we're still waiting on. And now that he's leaning on the states once again, well, not once again, but leaning on the states like most of his policies do to take into account whatever they want to as it relates to their state. And I'm really disgusted by it.
I'm just disgusted with him altogether. Just in general, period. Like, this guy, like, who even gave this guy the capacity to even become president? Like, who does that? I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. I gotta just throw the shade fan up because, you have somebody that clearly likes to make fun of handicapped people, disabled people. Then you have the same person who turns around and disrespects women, talking about grabbing them by their privates. Then you have the same guy who turns around and likes to kiss his daughter in the mouth. Now, see, I'm done.
Yeah, but I think that white privilege, and white supremacy is a thing. Even when we're having this conversation surrounding future VP Harris, when we're having this conversation around who she is and what she brings to the table, we're questioning if she is qualified. How dare we question if she's qualified when we have, President Orange, no shade, in power? Like, how is he qualified?
All I'm gonna say is this: he has no proof. Number one. Number two, you really don't have anything to say about Kamala Harris at all. She's qualified. She graduated from an HBCU. She is also my soror. I didn't go to an HBCU. I went to a PWI, but she is my soror. And on top of that, she's more than qualified. Okay, so we'll jump into that part later.
Yeah.
What about as far as with this stalled unemployment bill? What is your take on that?
So I think that politics are ugly, period. I would love to blame it all on Trump, but it's not just Trump. This is all of the legislative and executive parts of our government. I do hate this context where they're always giving it to the states. I know that's kind of like one of the Republican ideologies, to like hand it over to the state. You can put an extra $100 on it. It's not going to be the full $600. That meme that's going around that's saying, like, if we're worried about somebody making more on unemployment than they do at work, then we need to consider the fact that $600 is $15 an hour. I think that's a really important conversation. And so, like, people are hurting, and the last sentiment I have around the stalled unemployment bill is when we start talking about crime and disparities around like economic issues, looting, and things like that. It comes from people being poor. Right? It comes from people being impoverished. And so if the government is not doing anything while they're telling people to stay home for safety, while they're telling people to try to work from home, which some companies are not doing, then you are asking for people to riot and loot.
Yeah, and saying the thing with that also, that's kind of like a double-edged sword with that rioting and looting situation, because then you have some people that just turn around and they just looking for any type of out to try to go in and try to do things for themselves. Want to try to take things for themselves and being selfish versus looking at what is the real issue behind this. You understand what I'm saying? And that was like with one of the situations that happened in Chicago. Remember how they were there and you over here looting, you doing all of these things, and then not even knowing the full details before you go out and have a full-blown riot. Like I'm just like, what was your opinion on that?
That was that's a difficult thing for me. A piece of my me being a millennial goes up for people being radical and doing what they need to do to make a statement. But also a piece of myself as an entrepreneur now turning into like a businessman. It hurts my heart. Just because, you could literally lose everything you have in like a moment because of an act. But I think it has its place. I don't think that we can really figure out that space, just because it's one of those radical things you do. And so there's going to be some great things about it, and in my opinion, some devastating things about it too.
Okay, so then what about this mail-in ballot issue? With the postmaster, like, now see, you know what? Let me tell you, everything is like every week is something happening.
Yeah.
You notice that? Or is that just me? It's like something that's just outrageously happening every week. Now, a postmaster, you under, general under, investigation, and will be have to testify before Congress, right? You're removing mailboxes,
Yeah.
like then on top of that, USPS's use surges, especially around the holidays. What about using partners and third parties with FedEx and UPS?
Yeah.
Like, what type of voter suppression strategy are y'all doing around here? Like, what is this?
Now, I have to give a little bit. I completely agree with you, but there's some issues. So most of my money comes through the mail, and I've been having a little bit of an issue with my money reaching me at the time it's supposed to. They send something in Atlanta on a Monday. I'll get it to the next week on a Tuesday. So things have been a little weird, especially during COVID-19. So a piece of me is like, okay, a piece of me understands it simply because this country will do what it needs to do what it wants to do. You know what I mean? And so it does make me nervous. Like, we don't really have an option other than to mail in ballots, other than in Texas, because you can't mail in ballots in Texas unless you are a million different issues, right? 65 and older and all that kind of stuff. But the reality is I do understand that, USPS is not the best all the time. So I do think that it would be smart to partner with like a FedEx or UPS. But they don't want to invest in their infrastructure. Heck, going to the polling locations that we have, they barely got decent infrastructure in that. So they want this to be an easy win. Voter suppression is always real. And it's unfortunate that we sit in this space where we're supposed to live in this democracy that never really works for, poor people, people that live in, urban communities, which generally look like Black and brown people.
Well, just know that specific agenda, voter suppression, is part of the Texas Black Caucus agenda for legislative session, because I'm telling you, we're seeing it. We're seeing it quite frequently, and we're able to identify it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just find it disturbing. I'm still on, since Harris County has turned all blue, right? Now you want to take away the straight ticket voting. So what is really happening here? What's your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, listen, voter suppression is real. I hate that they want to take away straight ticket voting, because many people do not research candidates prior to, and many people, all they care about is getting a Democrat in these seats. You know what I mean? Because that's what we need. But I do think that this raises a standard. Not to say that I think we should just assimilate into a system that wasn't built for us. But I do think that this should raise a standard. I think that there's a conversation outside of the presidential conversation, because we got to get, Biden is our only choice. Okay, period. And people have said, don't tell people who to vote for. I ain't telling you who to vote for, but I'm saying Biden is our only choice. Okay. But I will also say that I'm hoping that this will push more people to really look into who has their best interest at heart and join these caucuses, join these, go to these meetings where these people are vying for your vote, such that you can actually get to know your candidates. And that will make voting easy. Because I just did that. Started doing that about two years ago. And it's really helped me out.
Right. So what about, but I'm still on the postmaster. Like, hey, let's expound some more on that, because see, that just took me out. Like, kind of give me some more insight on what you think about this.
I mean, obviously the Republicans denied money to invest in our voting infrastructure, right? Because it works for them. It works for them. The more people, the more you make it difficult for people to go vote, the less people will vote. And who generally does that look like? It's going to look like Black and brown people. It's going to look like Democrats. It's going to look like people who are progressive and have liberal policies in mind, and not only have those policies in mind, but really need those policies to survive. And so I think that when we're looking at the Postmaster General under investigation and potentially testifying before Congress, I'm looking into that. That is something very, very, very new.
Oh, let's not forget trying to remove mailboxes.
Yeah. Now that is disgusting, right?
I'm like, wait a minute, come on now. Wait a minute. Say that right there just took me completely out as well. So you're telling me you're moving mailboxes. Like, what is happening? Like, I'm not understanding this. Like, this just, I don't know. I have no idea. I just have no idea.
You tired? So I know you heard about Trump setting up fraudulent election claim. Basically, he is already in this space where he is setting it up to say that whoever wins did it fraudulently. And you know this man is going to go kicking and screaming. Yeah.
So now he wants to create a situation. And again, but clearly I'm like this. Let's talk about you and you allowing the Russians to interfere with the last election. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that the Democrats then got a little bit strategic on how they're handling things. So now you want to set up, it's going to be election fraud because they're not going to be voting for me. Man, kill yourself. Like, now you want to toss up a Hail Mary. Kanye didn't work out for you because you thought you was going to put the black votes with that one. Then pretty much Biden pulled out ace in the hole out on you with that. So that killed that right there. So he turned out having a black woman, number one, that's going to be his running mate. Yeah. So that Kanye little fiasco, they killed that and throw that out the window. But oh Lord, tell me what you think, John, because to me it's just like Trump, just shut up and go kill yourself.
With the whole conversation around Kanye, I just want to put a pin in that. That was so freaking disgusting to me. I was so disgusted with the fact that Kanye really is. Poor thing, he just really need a hug and
some medicine.
Yeah, I was trying not to say it. Thank you for saying it, Dr. Matthews. You're more qualified to say something like that. He definitely needs some medication, though. But yeah, I think that our current president is such a egotistical narcissist that it's really about him winning. It's about him winning at all costs, and it being, him being an asset. So I don't think, that he doesn't care where he has to go to win. And I think that is the unfortunate place that we're at. And that's the unfortunate person that we have running our country. And like going back to, Michelle's speech, the reality is we will be worse. It doesn't seem like it can get any worse. It can get even worse if that man is still there.
He even exposed himself during this pandemic. This pandemic exposed a lot of elected officials. It exposed a lot of organizations. It exposed a lot of prisons. It exposed a lot of everything, really, to be honest. And it's like, and even with him, it exposed him because he clearly was not ready for this type of pandemic, right? And you're supposed to be our leader, right? And you're telling folks to inject themselves with Clorox. I'm just saying, you're supposed to be president of the United States. You're supposed to be already on top of things and already, having things strategically in place in each state. Okay, and then it also exposed a lot of these governors, especially Texas governor, exposed us because look, you run around here. 1 minute we wearing the mask, 1 minute you telling us not to wear the mask, 1 minute you opening up the state, then you turn around, you're closing up the state. Then when you see that the wealth is not really going where it needs to go, so then you want to take wealth over health now. So like, wait a minute, come on, like it's just a bit much. And then now you want to drop this on us again with this fraudulent election claim.
Yeah.
You take the doggone Clorox. How about that?
I need my fan now. I need my fan.
Yeah, where you want somebody to shoot you at? You know what I'm saying? Which butt cheek you want? The left or the right? I'm just saying. Ooh, this is just too much. Oh my God. Ooh, Lord, have mercy, Lord.
So we didn't already start talking about our next vice president. But we have a video, right? We have a video we want to show before we really get into it.
Tax on her blackness. Like, wait a minute now. So okay, let's just see the video first. Then we're just gonna go right in. Let's just see.
I roll my eyes across America at the not as black as. I'm already sick of it. I've been looking at 3 days worth of comments from everybody who wants to claim some proper rightful place in the black box that the white slave master put us in when they decided that if you weren't white, you were black. It is a social and legal construct. It was created by people who control the country who look like none of us. And they said, if you are other than us, you go in this box. So I'm not going to sit here and say that Senator Harris is less black than Reverend Jackson or less black than Shirley Chisholm or more black than Barack Obama. It is all at this point an irritant in my soul. We are all, according to this country, black. If one of us goes out on that street and gets stopped by a rogue cop, I guarantee you we'll all be equally black. Now, if she's going to run a campaign that is built on her record, she's going to have to explain some things. I understand, right, that as somebody who has a profession in the legal field, if you are a woman, it is harder for you than if you are a man. She's dealing with heat as a prosecutor, but frankly, the people who are getting that heat, they don't like prosecutors, period. If you put brothers and sisters in jail, you're going to get that heat. But what I've said to the people who have been saying things to me on social media is, they're like, but if you would run, it would be different because you're down for the people. I'm like, let me help you. If I was a defense attorney, which I am all my life, there would be something to be said about me as a woman being a defense attorney and defending people and believing that the justice system means you get a proper defense. My sister and I right here have a good, healthy disagreement about what that means. So it's a womanhood issue. I can't say it any easier or harder than that. Eric Holder didn't deal with what Senator Kamala Harris is dealing with today. And he was a top cop. He was the highest cop in the land. And he was a prosecutor on every level before that. And he did not deal with the critique that she's getting from the HOTEP and EMOTEP and the DOS and all of that mess today. And it's an outrage. I agree with you in part that positions can change over time to 15 years, but there's something else that's changed, and that's the law. A prosecutor's obligation is to uphold and enforce the law of the land as it is. And the law of the land...
That's not my point. Laws changing are also a result of the people shifting in climate change.
But that's a very different thing than her position changing, because when you look at her record from even back then, even though the death penalty was the law of the land, she never enforced it and asked for it. Even though she could have put people in jail for nonviolent offenses, she started a program to offer anti-recidivism and job training for people who had nonviolent offenses. So, and even when you look at the issue with the lab tech, people keep saying that the cases got turned over. No, she dismissed cases of people who were probably guilty because there was an issue with the evidence. So I think we have to get down in the weeds and understand what her job was. And there are people who just can't stand the job of a prosecutor.
I love that lady. Oh.
I love her. Well, I'm just gonna say this because I could have just still been watching it. But okay, what I'm gonna say is that I can definitely agree with her with this because women, we get critiqued more than what an actual man would be critiqued on, right? And so now we have come to this, to like, how black is she?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Last I checked, if somebody is in that family black, baby, you black.
Boots.
You understand? Right. You're black. So I don't care if your dad is white, your mama black, your daddy black, your mama white, anything that you got that's a little black, you baby, you're black.
And I really am just tired of people having a conversation on like, is she black enough? That is very anti-black to say if one is black enough. Because well, really, when you think about blackness is not a monolith, and blackness is a complete spectrum, right? And I was just having a conversation on social justice and racial justice yesterday, and I was saying many of the things that we desire for Black people to be, all Black people aren't. And then we talk about their their Blackness and how they're not Black enough. I'm just tired of that conversation. I think it's a moot point around her Blackness. The fact is that she is Black. And I think it has a lot to do also with a sense of misogynoir, right? And it's this need for a Black woman to look like, act like, and dress like, be like a certain type of thing, and that's just not.
Well, my thing is, what Black are you trying to look for? Because we have so many facets of Black people. You understand what I'm saying? So what? So what make her Black enough? If her name was Shaquisha or something? I'm just saying, would she be Black enough like that? Would she be Black enough? Would she got like all these different baby daddies and or whatever that they try to put the Black woman, what box they try to put the Black woman in? You know what I'm saying? So what, she can't be educated? What, she can't be, have a profession? You know what I'm saying? So what, is this the old black tax that's going on? What is this? I'm just saying, I'm not getting it because, me, I'm a Black woman, right? Black businesswoman. Okay. So what really gets what get with me, I'm sorry, but I got to take it this way. Like when we have state people coming to do audits or whatever in all the Black female owners' offices. Oh, they want to give us the 3rd degree, but you won't do that to the Black man though.
Yeah.
So that means we have to prove ourselves extra. We got more critiques that we have to do, but you wouldn't do that to a Black male provider. So it's all the way down to the local level. Let's just be clear about it. So my thing is, so now this is where we are now. So we are to where, she's not Black enough. Oh, let's just go back to the Jim Crow thing. You know how they do with the light-skinned Blacks, dark-skinned Blacks. The light-skinned Blacks are like this. The dark-skinned Blacks is like, man, come on. I don't know. Go ahead, Ian. What you think?
And this is the simple fact. Black women are the most educated in the nation at the intersection of race and gender, right? So when you think about that, this lady is a part of a group that has been oppressed so much and still finds a way to show up in a powerful, powerful way. She has an excellent resume as it relates to her academic studies. She has an excellent, and I know we're about to talk about her record in just a few seconds, but she has an excellent resume. She has an excellent resume in terms of what she has done in her career, how she has built her career, and how she is at this next peak, this next powerful peak. And I just can't believe that, we are having to talk about, is she Black enough? When
we are lost as a people if that is the only thing you can come up with.
I mean, they were saying that, if you had a drop of blood, drop of Blackness, you was Black.
And so I just would like to say this. Viewers that are watching, she Black.
Boots.
Period.
Yeah.
So that's the end of discussion right there. Now, what we need to be judging on is her merit. We need to be judging on, what we need to be doing as a people right now, we need to be already having, what is it for the Black agenda? What is it for the Hispanic agenda? We need to put these things in place and hold them accountable to it. Your color is not going to hold you accountable. Your actions and your merits will.
Yeah, that's good. And I think that, even when we look at the context of like the angry Black woman, I think the angry Black woman is who we need. Okay. I think about when she was a presidential nominee and she was challenging the hell out of Joe Biden. I mean, challenging the Hill. That is what we need, right? We need a vice president who's going to hold Biden accountable. You know, Biden nor Harris is perfect, and politics are ugly. Yeah, but the power is having someone that's going to have the best interest of the people there, and that they can shoot ideas. They're brilliant enough to shoot ideas and to hold, and for Harris to hold Biden accountable.
And becoming change agents versus telling us to inject ourselves with Clorox.
Where's my fan? Next time I come be a guest, I'm gonna give me a fan.
I'm just saying. So then that leads us to the DNC day one kickoff.
Okay.
So I'm so excited about that. Number one, you know. Yes. So let's roll the beautiful bean footage in reference to the DNC day one kickoff.
In 1776, the Declaration of Independence, we hold these truths to be self-evident. These words are the basis for the American creed: equality, equity, fairness, decency. America didn't live up to that promise for most of the people at the time, the people of color, for women, but we were born of an idea that every single solitary person, given half a chance, no matter where they're from, given half a chance, there's not a single thing they cannot do if they work at it. Nothing's beyond their capacity.
The moment has come for our nation to deal with systemic racism, to deal with the growing economic inequity that exists in our nation, to deal with the denial of the promise of this nation, made to so many. You know, I've said from the outset of this election that we're in the battle for the soul of this nation. We are in the battle for the soul of this nation.
Good evening. Our great nation is now living in an unprecedented moment. We're facing the worst public health crisis in 100 years and the worst economic collapse since the Great Depression. And in the midst of all of this, we have a president who is not only incapable of addressing these crises, but is leading us down the path of authoritarianism. Let me take this opportunity to say a word to the millions of people who supported my campaign this year and in 2016 for all people. While Joe and I disagree on the best path to get universal coverage, we must come together, defeat Donald Trump, and elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as our next president and vice president. My friends, the price of failure is just too great to imagine. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It's a hard time, and everyone's feeling it in different ways. And I know a lot of folks are reluctant to tune into a political convention right now, or to politics in general. Believe me, I get that. As I've said before, being president doesn't change who you are. It reveals who you are. The president's words have the power to move markets. They can start wars or broker peace. So let me be as honest and clear as I possibly can. Donald Trump is the wrong president for our country. He has had more than enough time to prove that he can do the job, but he is clearly in over his head. He cannot meet this moment. He simply cannot be who we need him to be for us. It is what it is. Now, I understand that my message won't be heard by some people. We live in a nation that is deeply divided, and I am a Black woman speaking at the Democratic Convention. But enough of you know me by now. You know that I tell you exactly what I'm feeling. You know I hate politics, but you also know that I care about this nation. You know how much I care about all of our children. So if you take one thing from my words tonight, it is this. If you think things cannot possibly get worse, trust me, they can and they will if we don't make a change in this election. If we have any hope of ending this chaos, we have got to vote for Joe Biden like our lives depend on it. And if we want to keep the possibility of progress alive in our time, if we want to be able to look our children in the eye after this election, we have got to reassert our place in American history. And we have got to do everything we can to elect my friend Joe Biden as the next president of the United States. Thank you all. God bless.
Oh, that lady.
Yes, honey. That's my first lady right there. Okay. Yeah. That's my first lady who don't pose naked and was a sex slave. That's what happens when you have a first lady that's educated.
Yeah. Yeah. I played her entire speech like twice today. I listened to it like twice last night. It was just so powerful, so heartwarming. And I watched most of the convention.
See, I didn't get to watch some of it because I was so busy, but the thing that got me with that, and I definitely agree, being the president does not change you as a person. It reveals you, honey. Clearly, Trump you have been exposed.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm.
don't know what the hell you doing. Clearly, you don't know what the hell you doing. You run around here reaching, doing all kind of dumb shit. You got us running around here. We got pandemics going on. Then on top of that, we have police brutality. We got all type of systematic injustices happening. Then you turn around, we have even the Ku Klux Klan that came out. Like, come on, like what?
Yeah.
It's just
Without their hood.
and help me understand. Like, come on.
Yeah.
What you got?
Yeah, I loved it. I was especially happy to hear from Bernie Sanders. I really thought that was very transparent and open and honest what he said. This is the thing, though. I have to lift this up. I've been on my Facebook. So my Facebook, obviously, I'm a little bit younger. And so my Facebook and my social media ranges from real young to, moderately age, my elder.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
And the younger people are not happy. They're not moved. They don't feel like this is the answer they want. They have been saying, and I'm nervous about this because a lot of the people on my Facebook are saying, I am tired of hearing this rhetoric about getting the bad guy out of that seat, getting the bad guy, vote blue, vote blue. Yeah. And so, how are you feeling about that?
Well, see, another thing that I got to kind of add to that is that I'm just not going to vote. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, so you do know that by you're not voting, you're actually voting for Trump, right?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And I cannot wrap my mind around that because, the way that I was raised was that your ancestors died for you to vote. This is your right. This is not an option. You see what I'm saying? Then you have some people that think that your vote don't count, and it does. This is where you make the statement for them to know no more. You see what I'm saying? We're not going to deal with this no more, and your vote will express that. Why y'all think they trying to do this voting suppression mess? Because they know that's the power that we have. So
I'm with you. I'm with you. I just don't know what it's gonna take because these millennials who want really progressive policies, the Bernie bros and sisters, they are not happy with the DNC right now. And I've even been seeing some people saying that they're voting, for a third party, and I'm just like,
I saw that too. I saw that. I really did. I saw that, and it's like, oh Lord, they politics. Let's just be clear. None of these people are perfect. You know what I'm saying? Hell, show me the perfect person, and I'm gonna show you their damn lie.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Because I've talked to many people that got passed. Hell, everybody got a pass. So my thing is, what are you doing now is the question. And holding them accountable in the process. That's the difference. So, and then you have to know this man didn't expose himself to the fact where he is not capable of running this country.
That's the important piece.
You understand what I'm saying? Then you have a person who was the vice president for 2 terms. Then you have an actual senator. So these are people who resumes line up.
And you know what? And I don't particularly like the conversation around not electing career politicians. I think I understand the sentiment, right? Because we want these progressive policies.
Right.
But listen, I don't care if somebody have a doctorate in education. That don't mean I'm going to see them as my psychiatrist. Okay, you know what I mean? I want you to have some specialized training in the work that you do and some history, because the truth of the matter is, just for a second, going back to our conversation around Vice President Harris, you see how I'm already speaking that into existence. Right. But when we talk about her record, she did her job. Right. And and I think that that's, it's unfair to think about like where she was and what she had to do. It's a blemish, but she did her job, and we have those records, good, bad, or indifferent, to be able to hold her accountable in the more progressive policies in which she sits in now. And we understand, like, even with Biden, he is not one of those politicians that sits still and stays the same. 15 years ago, he wouldn't be for marriage equality. He is today. 20 years ago, he wouldn't be talking about defunding the police or any conversations around liberal policies around that. But now he can talk about that, and we can hold him accountable. You can't hold an egotistical narcissist accountable.
Exactly.
Period.
Just like, let's look at 20, 30 years ago. Let's look at 20 years ago for us. You know what I'm saying? 20 years ago, you couldn't tell me about having no doggone kids. You see what I'm saying? That wasn't me then. You know what I'm saying? I was on a whole nother path. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But now I'm a mother. You see what I'm saying? And, so it's like we all have these transitional moments. You understand what I'm saying? But then at the same time, though, accountability is important because you have to be able to hold them accountable, because if you don't, they will tell you all these nice little sweet nut things to try to get your vote. Now, you're not going to just get my vote. This is what we want in order for you to get our vote. This is what we want. This is what we're going to hold you to.
And the government is decided by those who show up. And that's just not showing up to the polls. The polls are extremely, extremely important, but it's also showing up to their doors.
But you're showing up work contest, though.
Yeah. Say that again.
But what kills me, you'll show up to a twerk contest, but won't show up to vote, and not even realizing that the local elections is what's going to affect you even more.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we gotta show up. We gotta get to know our politicians on a real personal way, because that's to make the decision.
Period.
Yeah, that's it.
So then let's take this to the school reopening concerns. This right, because let me tell you something. My kids.
You're a mama.
Let me go and break it down right now. My kids is homeschooled. Okay. My kids not going to school, and then you coming back to the house bringing us the EBGBs. I do not think so. Okay. Yeah. So you're reopening these schools, right? You don't bit more know how to scratch your watch and wind your ass. You know that I said that backwards, because that is what's happening. This is backwards. Okay. So you're willing to put educators, children, and their families at risk.
Yeah.
All for that dollar. Versus just let everybody go to school online until you can get a handle on this pandemic, right? Or better yet, like with me, we homeschooling our kids. You know what I'm saying? We have a educational tutor who tutors our kids, because I'm not letting my kids go to school and for my kids to get a death sentence, or better yet, bringing that mess over here.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, I think not. So let's just take a video and look at this. Tell me what y'all think after y'all see this video.
On the first day of school Monday in Woodstock, Georgia, students posed for this photo, not a mask in sight. An hour and a half east in the state's largest school district, 260 school employees have already tested positive or been asked to quarantine after being exposed to coronavirus, with in-person learning set to start later this month. It's the kind of news that has parents in Columbia, Missouri, protesting tonight.
Right now, we just feel like it's too much of a gamble.
Across the country, teachers are joining that chorus.
I'm very anxious.
Lucy Wilson teaches first grade in Columbia, South Carolina. We first met the single mom last year, working a second job in a factory to pay the bills. Her district plans to bring students back in stages.
Do you think it's a matter of if coronavirus hits the school or when?
I think it's an effect of when it's going to hit the school, because it is spreading like wildfire.
The president of the nation's largest teachers union says teachers will have to make tough choices about teaching in person.
There are options. When someone says, oh, well, you don't have any choices because the superintendent says you have to, or your governor says you have to, or the president of the United States says you have to go into an unsafe building. No, we don't.
While many parents are eager to put their kids back on a school bus,
It's going to be a good day.
in districts like Dallas, precautions include taking students' temperatures, providing 3 masks and a face shield for each student, and plexiglass dividers between desks. Still, they're planning what they'll do if coronavirus hits.
The minute we know that there is an illness, we will remove the students from that classroom and disinfect and clean.
The head of the district said today, with infections still rising in Texas, it looks highly doubtful they'll be able to open for any in-person instruction by September. Kate Snow, NBC.
Let me go and say this. First of all, what are you gonna do about like the kids that we deal with, foster kids that don't listen to nothing that you say? Okay, you think they gonna wear that mask? What are you gonna deal with kids that got different problems? You know what I'm saying? What are you gonna do with children, just children being kids? You understand what I'm saying? Then on top of that, you have educators coming in and you're risking their lives and also their families' lives. Like, you're violating people's civil rights here. You understand what I'm saying? This is an issue for me. And if I was an educator, I'm sorry, you're not about to put me in a situation to where my life will be in jeopardy. I don't think so. Sorry, like, newsflash. No, thank you. So, like, what's your opinion?
Well, I want to read this comment. The comment says the schools won't even supply Chromebooks. They won't help at all. This virus is real. Kids are dying from going to school. Why did they open that back, killing our kids? I'm angry about it. I am feeling all type of different ways. And I just want to ask you, Dr. Matthews, how are you handling working full time, having a business, and having to homeschool your children? Because what the only thing that concerns me is there are parents who just don't have the capacity to stay at home and take care of home plus work. And so I don't know how
hard. See, the way how we do ours, we have an educational coach is who I hired. Right. So I paid for the actual curriculum, and then I turned around and hired an educational coach where my children will receive one-on-one instruction.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So, but I have the means to do that. Right. And then my teenage girl, she's in Klein ISD, but they gave us a choice. If you want your children to come to school or do you want them to be online? My daughter is going to be online.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But what about the parents who don't have that type of capacity to move like that?
Yeah.
That have to work. That's probably the only parent in the home.
I think that's the only thing that, that's the only thing I don't have an answer to, and I don't have children.
Educational coach, they need to have something in place is what I'm saying. They need to have some type of special funding or something or an option that they need to have within the school districts in order for that to be able to happen. You know what I mean? Because then I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. The child CPS rates are going to go up.
Absolutely.
Because of neglect.
Mm-hmm. Neglect is going to be child abuse because the parents are upset that they have to stay at home in order to do this, and then the money, the financial issues come on. Like, those are the things that I think that come up for me and make me uncomfortable with not being able to go into the school. But I get it. Like, we're in a freaking pandemic. It's difficult. But I just, I hate that the infrastructure that was built to go back to school was so focused on, like, when I hear excuse my expression, shit like plexiglass and face shields. Y'all could spend all that money to get these students back into this space and not put that money into building real infrastructure for virtual classes so that these people can learn and not get infected with COVID and bring it back to their families. And then it's really going to be a worse pandemic because the parents that's supposed to take care of them virtually can no longer take care of them because they're in the hospital.
See, and again, and I'm just going to be straight up, and this is what's going to keep me in business.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that, but the numbers are going up by the day.
Yeah.
And it's sad because it's like now I saw something that was on the news also where they were saying that now you got children that are carriers now.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So at first they were saying that the children were not, carriers because they were not really out like the parents are. So now you got the children that's out with this stuff. So it's like, okay, you know what? Something has to give here. People got to use some common sense.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to take it even a step further. Even like what they're dealing with the schools, what about the people that are in the prisons?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The prisoners didn't have it at first. Who brought it in there?
Yeah.
Right? So then how are they controlling this? Because just like what they was just saying with the teachers, like if they end up having the virus or whatever, they have to quarantine for 14 days, right? I didn't hear anybody saying nothing about retesting them before they come back to work.
Right.
So the thing that they got to understand is regardless that you're quarantining, right? That don't mean that you don't have it no more.
Yeah.
You go and get retested to make sure that you don't have it. And then if you still test positive, you got to quarantine another 14 days. But see, what's happening is that it affects the manpower. So that's where that wealth over health comes in again. So how can we get rid of it if you're not requiring people to be retested to make sure that they don't have it? Just like what they said about a kid. Remember what they said on the video not so long ago? Like if a kid they taking the temperature and all this kind of stuff, and they're going to disinfect and send the child home. Okay, so but if you were to require for the child to be tested before you bring them to school, does that kind of get what I'm going with? You have to be able to properly gauge this because you have children that don't have no symptoms, asymptomatic people. So you can do a temperature check and they're going to check out clean. You can do all of this here stuff, and then guess what? They still passing that virus around.
They need to give more infrastructure to the virtual classroom, and they need to stop they SHT, as my mama would say. Okay.
Because I'm telling you, like, and it's scary because like remember back in the Gap, like it used to be about the STDs. Right?
Yeah.
Now, all the person got to do is come to you and say, "Hey, what's up?" And now you done got the EGBs.
That's it.
You see what I'm saying?
That's it.
And it's just so sad. Well, first of all, we thank you guys for tuning in. Please share this specific podcast tonight because we covered a lot of good, juicy information. We had some real nice videos. And so now we're going to give our top fans of the week. We have Quintessa and we have Critical. Thank you guys. We love you. And until next week, we'll see y'all then. Bye.